Hello and welcome to today's lesson, Mathletes. All right, so last Friday we are dealing with properties of exponents, and last Friday we covered two different situations. So if you want to get out your worksheet 7-3, if you need to, just pause the video. Get your worksheet 7-3 out. I've already corrected the first column with you, so I'm going to go through some of the other problems, and some of them I'm just going to give you the answers. But I just want to go through a quick review. There were two different situations that we talked about. So if we had something like x to the fifth times x to the third, we are going to add our exponents and get x to the eighth. So we add exponents. Okay, then the other situation that we had on Friday is where we had x to the second, and then we took that whole quantity to the sixth power. So in this circumstance, you still keep the base. Both situations, we keep the base. And this time, instead of adding the exponents, we are going to multiply the exponents. And in this particular case, 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, and then the last situation, which was actually from 2 days ago, so last Thursday, we talked about negative exponents. So if we have x to the third and y to the negative seventh, the positive exponent x is just fine, but that negative exponent we are not allowed to have. So we have to write this as a fraction. We leave the positive base and exponent in the numerator, but we have to put this negative exponent and base in the denominator. And when I put the y in the denominator and I write that exponent, we write it as a positive 7. That's the whole point of us having to write it as that fraction, is to get rid of that negative value. All right, so when you look at number 2, number 3, number 5, number 6, they all look like example number 1 up here. And so we are going to be adding the exponents. So 5 plus 4 is 2 to the 9th power. Now you should be able to grab your calculator and do 2 caret 9, and that answer comes out to be 512. In number 3, it's the same thing, so we are going to add our exponents. So 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Oh, that's 2 to the 9th, same thing. So we'll get 512. All right, in number 5, it looks like we have an r and an r, so I'm going to add these two together. So negative 3 plus 4 is r to the first, and then we have s to the negative fourth. So it at first looked like example number 1 that I talked about, and now it looks like example number 3. We have a positive exponent and a negative exponent. So I'm going to leave the r on top, and I'm going to put s to the fourth on the bottom. All right, number 6, those are all j's. So negative 2 plus negative 4 is a negative 6, and negative 6 plus 2 is going to give me j to the negative fourth. And we can't have a negative exponent, so I'm going to write it 1 over j to the fourth power. All right, number 8 no longer looks like that first one. It looks a little different. It looks like number 2, and we are going to multiply exponents. So this is going to be h to the 10th. G, again, it looks like this, the same thing, and we're going to multiply those exponents. So we get g to the negative 8th. So this is 1 over g to the 8th. All right, number 11. This first part right here, we're going to get v to the 10th, and then we still have v to the 4th. So we multiply these exponents, but I'm going to add these exponents. So it becomes 10. Whoops, that's supposed to be a v. Sorry about that. That is supposed to be a v to the 14th. All right, in number 12, so I'm going to take care of this first, and I'm going to multiply these exponents. So you get w to the negative 10th and w to the negative third. Now we have to add those together. So we have w to the negative 13th, and now we can't have a negative, so we're going to write this as 1 over w to the 13th. So this actually had all three situations in it. So we started off having to multiply exponents, Then we added exponents, and then finally we had a negative exponent, so we had to write it as a fraction. All right, number 14. So we're going to multiply those, so we get a to the 6th, multiply, we get a to the 10th. So now when we add these two together, we have a to the 16th. All right, now we're talking about doing the distributive property and having to bring this in to everything. So you have to have 3 to the 4th and b to the 4th. Now use your calculator, and 3 to the 4th is 81, b to the 4th. All right, number 17, you have to bring this 3 into the 4. So we're going to have negative in front, and we have 4 to the 3rd, m to the 3rd. So our final answer here is going to be negative, and 4 to the 3rd is 64, and we have m to the 3rd. All right, bring that negative 2 in. So we have a negative 3 to the negative 2 power, and p to the negative 2 power. Well, both of those exponents are negative, so I'm going to have to write it as 1 over negative 3 squared and p to the 2nd. Notice when I wrote both of those in the bottom, neither one of them have a negative anymore. So we have 1 over, and negative 3 squared is 9, and then p squared. All right, number 20. Take this exponent in. So we have a to the 4th. Remember, we are multiplying those exponents. B to the 8th. Bring this exponent in, and negative 2 times negative 1 is a 2. 3 times negative 1 is going to be a negative 3, and then we have a to the 4th. All right, now we have to combine this a, and this a. So we have a to the 10th. And we're going to combine our b's, and we have 8 minus 3, so we have b to the 5th. All right, in the essence of time, I'm just going to write this answer for you, or most of it. It ends up being x to the negative 16th and y to the negative 2nd. And both of those are negative exponents, so I'm going to write it 1 over x to the 16th, y to the 2nd. All right, we are moving on into our new lesson. So our new lesson is we're going to add one more rule. So write out all of these factors. So this means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And dividing, so now I have 2 x's on the bottom. And we've always been taught that we can simplify or reduce things if it's the same on the top and the same on the bottom. We can simplify, so these can cancel out to 1, these can cancel out to 1, and what are we left with? 3 x's. So we have to write this as x to the 3rd power, because we have 1, 1, 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is x to the 3rd. So what happened here? When this is written as division, what happened with these exponents? How did we take this 5 and this 2 and end up with a 3? All right, let's try one more. So that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x's on top, and 1, 2, 3, 4 x's on the bottom. So let's cancel. 2, 3, 4 of them cancel. So now what are we left with? There's 1, 1, 1. So this is x to the 3rd power. Okay, can anyone see when this is written as a fraction, what are we doing with these exponents 7 and 4 to get to 3? Anyone think they have this rule down? So are we going to still keep that base? And what are we doing with these exponents? Aren't we subtracting them? All right, so the rule for dividing is keep the base, subtract exponents. So this should go in the same place that you have your other rules. So the 3 rules I just wrote down today, if you need to, go back, start the video over and write those down and add this one in there. Here can be your sample problem. X to the 10th and x to the 3rd. So what we do is x 10 minus 3, and we get x to the 7th. All right, let's try a few sample problems here and see how this goes. All right, so we have the same base, x and x. So we're going to do keep the base, and you take the 9 minus 5, and so we have x to the 4th. Keep the base, subtract the exponents. All right, second problem. 7 and 7's our base, so keep the base, subtract the exponents. So we have 7 to the 2nd, and now you can actually do 7 to the 2nd. If you needed to, you could use your caret button or just 7 squared, or maybe you just remember that 7 squared is 49. All right, now we've got some letters, some on top, some on the bottom, some have things that are the same, some that don't. So we have W, and what are we going to do? Because this is a division, we're going to subtract our exponents, 5 minus 3, and we still have y to the 8th. So what is 5 minus 3 is going to give us w to the 2nd, y to the 8th. All right, number 4, it's going to bring in another rule that we did from last week. So we have to first remember to bring in this exponent. So we have x to the 2nd, y. Now remember, we are multiplying these exponents. 3 times 2 is 6. And now we have y to the 2nd on the bottom. Okay, our y's are the same here. So what are we going to do with those exponents? Well, that x to the 2nd we're going to keep. And these exponents we're going to subtract. So we're going to go 6 minus 2. So we get y to the 4th power. All right, bring that exponent in. Bring this in. You have to bring it into everything. So we're going to have 4 squared on top and 5 squared on the bottom. So now what is 4 squared? That is 16. And on the bottom we have 5 squared, which is 25. All right, number 6, wowza. We've got a lot of places we've got to bring that to. So we have to bring this 2 into the 7. We have to bring it into the x. We have to bring it into the y. And we have to bring it into the x. And remember, when we're bringing it in, we are multiplying. So now, what is 7 squared? Well, we just did that one. It's 49. Multiply these exponents. So we have x to the 10th. Multiply these exponents. So we have y to the 4th. And in the bottom, we multiply those exponents. So we have x to the 4th. Now, if we have any more like bases, we need to simplify. So these x's are the same bases, so I need to simplify. So I keep my 49, and what are we doing? What was the rule from today? Don't we take your exponents and we take 10 minus 4? So we have x to the 6th power, and we still have y to the 4th power. So 49, x to the 6th, y to the 4th. All right, you guys got a packet last week, and in your packet, the very last worksheet on the back page when it's stapled says 7-4, reteach. Okay, this is what it says at the top of it, reteach. And it is 7-4 reteach, and there are numbers 1 through 9. So please give 1 through 9 a try here. And then if you don't have the worksheet, remember I do have it in your folder. So if you need to go ahead and print a new worksheet or just look at something and do it on a piece of paper, you can do that too. All right, good luck.